Okay, I wanted to show what I've been working on for my craft project before I got too much further on it because uh, things are going to get buried, and I wanted to sort of show some of the process I've been going through. So, yeah, I've been doing a process called dry felting, and the object that I'm working on making is a model of the brain. Um, I wasn't clever enough to think about how I could separate it all so you can see all the parts. So before these things get buried and only I will know they exist, I wanted to prove that I've been really working on making it anatomically correct. So I'll show you the process of felting, of dry felting, in just a second. But first, I'm just going to show you what I've gotten, how far I've gotten so far. So I started by making the brain stem, and you can see we've got sort of the bottom of the spinal cord here. I even did um, the the gray matter making up the horn, the dorsal and ventral horn of the spinal cord, and then it gets a little bit thicker to represent the medulla oblongata. The blue portion here are to represent the pons, and then that sort of sand colored fiber up above is the midbrain, so that's your brain stem. And then back here we have the two hemispheres of the cerebellum, and um, just pretend that there's inferior colliculi right behind, or I guess inferior to the two superior colliculi here, and that's the pineal gland. The midbrain is connected to the two thalami, so I actually made those separately and used the technique for dry felting to kind of connect all these parts together. So yeah, I'll show you how I've been doing that. So all of the parts that you're seeing started off as just natural fibers, like this stuff. It's been cleaned, but originally it was essentially just shaved from a sheep. Um, and if you take these fibers, down close, they're very, the fibers can get crinkled and kind of knotted together. And so if you take this felting pin. It just looks like a pin, but if you look really close, you can see that there's little barbs along the side of it. And essentially, you take that and you just poke at the fiber. And as you do that, the little barbs are catching tiny little pieces of the fiber and interweaving them, so they kind of like crinkle together and they get tighter and tighter. And if you stick with it, everything becomes more compact. So this is this was kind of a sample piece that I just poked at for a while. The longer you poke, the more dense and kind of compressed it gets. And at this point, you really, I'd have to work really, really hard to pull this apart. But it started off like this. And the fiber comes in all kinds of different colors that have been dyed. So that's where I'm at so far.